You would think that a channel that has one of its integral aspects based on fighting games, the YouTuber behind it would be good at them. It seems like every video I make around fighting games has to mention that I'm not a pro or I'm not super good at fighting games. This isn't because I want to be woe is me and I get all that pity. It's more because I don't want to project a false narrative in my videos. Picking up on my last video, at the very end I said that by the end of this year, 2025, I want to hit the top rank, aside from things like Legend and Street Fighter 6, where it's an extension of the top rank, in one of the fighting games I played. This fighting game may change, but for now, Street Fighter 6 is one of the ones that I'm looking at the most. So why am I bringing up me wanting to get better at fighting games? It's because now that I have finally taken some liberty in getting better at these games, I realized what worked better and what didn't work at all. You see, the way I learn is by being shown something and copying it. With fighting games, this is a bit harder because there's so many niche scenarios that don't have a video you can look up with the exact answer, and I'm not used to that. What I'm trying to say is that there's no special formula that's going to completely expedite your improvement. But when I looked up videos on improvement, it all felt the same, and I wanted to try to give people looking to improve a take that they don't always see. Before I get started with my own video, I want to shout out a video that I felt deferred from the norm and actually taught me new things. It's a video that I will put in the description by Diaphone, where he goes through and tells you what to focus on in each rank. You see, most videos talking about fighting game improvement are actually just talking about the generality of fighting games. Learning your combos, practicing reactions, learning how to knowledge check, and so much more that would take way too long to list. I want this video to feel like the Diaphone video. Not in the aspect of doing exactly what he's doing and copying his video, but more of a, I want this video to feel different from the rest. Something that you can walk away hearing something that you haven't heard before on the countless other videos you've watched on trying to improve. I highly recommend you go and watch that Diaphone video. I'm going to put it in this video's description. He goes into depth on the major things that you should learn, and it helps segment these things so it feels a lot less overwhelming. That's the main problem I found with these general videos on how to improve. It doesn't tell you what to do first, it just tells you what to do. And when there's so many things you don't know yet, it's overwhelming. We all just want to hit cool combos as soon as possible, but learning takes time, so having someone lay it out segmented makes it easier to digest. So again, major props to Diaphone for making that video. That video is still helping me to improve to this day. But this is my video, so I might as well get started with it. I want to be fair to you as the viewer, and real to myself as the creator, that while making this video, knowing that there are a lot more YouTubers that have way bigger audiences than I do, I can assume with almost 100% certainty that if you've made your way to this video, then you've watched a video on improving at fighting games before. This video may skip over a lot of major things, and if this somehow happens to be the first video you've seen on improving at fighting games, watch one or two of the general ones made by bigger YouTubers. They have generic information that is useful, but doesn't need to be repeated over and over again. I'm not saying that those videos aren't worth anything, I'm just pointing out that there is a need for someone who's in that position of the person trying to improve right now, and is actively improving to make a video on this topic. So with this challenge I have set for myself, along with my path just starting, I feel like I'm pretty qualified to talk about this topic. First off, I don't want to make it seem like I'm awful at fighting games. I was in upper red ranks in Tekken 8 for a while, and I've been playing Smash Bros for as long as I can remember. When it comes to 2D fighters though, I've played them most of my life, but I've never improved at them until now. With my credentials out of the way, let's finally jump into the tips I have accumulated as someone who is most likely in your shoes. I'm going to assume that the people who are watching this video have varying skill levels, so I'm going to try to make my advice placate to everybody that I possibly can, and give advice that everybody can apply to their gameplay. But I want to make sure that someone who's literally never touched a controller before can still understand this along with a mid-tier player. Obviously someone who's a high-tier player who's very good at the game doesn't need a video on how to improve. At the game they obviously know how to improve at already. When I asked myself what things I did to finally see that improvement, there were two things that came to mind. The first of which is gameplay focused, and the second is a mix of both gameplay focused and mentally focused. The first thing that came to mind is being able to take a step back in your games and just think. I know when I play Street Fighter, for example, my want to win outweighs my want to improve, but winning short term is just winning the battle. Winning the war is a whole nother story. When you're playing the game, you shouldn't be pressing buttons constantly. If you're worried about your rank, only play quick matches at first, but losing shouldn't be bad at first. Who cares if you lose every single game? What you should be focused on is thinking about the real concept of what's going on during your match. If you have ever taken a psychology class, you know that human behavior can be a little predictable. The same goes for fighting games. If your opponent found something that keeps on hitting you over and over again, they're going to keep using it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. For example, imagine you're playing against a Ken who keeps spamming Jinrai kick mix-up, and you are consistently getting hit by it. What you need to do in this moment is not get angry, but I want you to imagine what could possibly stop this move. Off the top of my head, I could think blocking, which is risky because it has a mix-up between high and low. I could also imagine drive impact, which has enough armor to hit that person. I also think of jumping, which could lead to a counter hit and eventually, when you get good enough, a combo. There are also other ways to stop this, but these are just a few I can think of. If you take a step back and don't care about losing and care about improving and knowing what to do in these situations, you will overall start to improve. Instead of trying to beat your opponent, imagine your opponent as a tool that will lead to your improvement. Every single person has a playstyle that they're going to lean towards. If you can pinpoint that playstyle and adapt, you will already be ahead of the competition. Having this ability to adapt is what separates the good from the great. Now that we've talked about what you can do inside your game, what should you be doing outside of your game to improve this first step? This leads to the second thing I thought of when I was thinking what helped me improve. It's what I like to call character familiarity. I noticed that most improvement I made when I was in Tekken was watching tournaments that were happening at the time and having enough familiarity with my character, Victor, to learn combos from just watching them, because I knew what the moves were and what their inputs were. This doesn't mean you have to be on that level to learn things, but creating familiarity with a character will help you pick things up a lot better. Familiarity obviously comes with playing games, but going to the practice range and just finding out what the animations look like for each input will lead you to this path of being able to learn from just watching. A lot of times when I was first learning games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, or other things, I would watch someone do a combo and lose track of what was going on with the character I played. When you first learned a character, not every move is actually of use to you because they're too niche for your skill level, so when you see people use it and string it together with other things, you start to lose that understanding that is necessary for the improvement that you want. Those two things cover the cycle of improvement for pretty much everything. When I learned guitar, playing the instrument and being familiar with the instrument really are the two things you need to improve. Obviously, you need to practice intentionally, and you can't just play the instrument just to play it, but as long as you're intentional with your improvement, it will happen, which leads to the last point of this video. The last point may not be the most fun thing to hear, but it's the most correct thing that you need to hear. And it's that watching videos on how to improve is never going to lead to you actually improving. And when I say this, I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch YouTube videos on how to improve. I'm saying that exclusively or almost exclusively watching YouTube videos will never get you anywhere. Trust me, I know how it feels. I'm speaking from experience. That you feel like you should be a lot better because of all the knowledge you have, but you just aren't there yet because you only watch videos and don't play the game. The reason you don't play that game is because it feels like a chore and you don't feel like you're at the spot where you can hop on the game and have fun. You feel like you're in the spot where you have to learn every single game, and most people don't want to take their daily work and get right onto a game and just learn. The improvement should be fun and it shouldn't feel like a chore, so stop treating it like one. Maybe you take a day or two where you play 5 sets and save every single replay from that day. And then, when you feel like you want to learn or improve, you go back to watch those replays and analyze what you did wrong. That way you can have fun in the moment while still learning familiarity with your character, and afterward, when you feel like you're learning, getting that experience as well. This rounds out the things that I don't hear too often when people are talking about improving. I want to say thanks again to Diaphone for making his video and helping inspire this one a little bit. If you ever see this, thank you. Either way, thank you all for watching to the end of this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and or leave a comment. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. With all that being said, thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day. God bless.